I don't know. This is the opportunity. Yeah. This is the opportunity they need. The opportunity they need this. Pandemic everywhere. Pandemic everywhere. Oh, wow. Hope they will not go and burn that station. I don't know. This is the opportunity. Yeah. This is the opportunity they need. The opportunity they need this. Pandemic everywhere.
Hello and welcome to Today in the News on Vanguard Live. My name is Precious Chukudi and I have with me my co-host
Damilola Ogunshaki.
Damilola Ogunshaki. Have you been noticing the whole traffic situation? I keep asking this question because of late it's been very, very, it's something that Nigerians do not even really, especially Lagosians, I would say Lagosians in Lagos, it's something that we do not even really expect, because every day when I go out, I'm like, what's happening? You spend more hours now in traffic. It's unexpected these days.
I guess it's based on the construction going on the most part of the roads in Lagos right now. Of course, like you said yesterday, some of those roads like that of Oshodi Road, I think there's a road they are currently repairing there, and also Ikorodu Road. So there's that. I think that's what's really causing traffic. But we also have some other parts that they really need to reconstruct and do some things there, and some bad portion of the road they're causing traffic and all that.
Also, the pandemonium that occurred in around that's Amodofin area, that's the Apple Junction area too, was another issue that I noticed that affected literally everywhere. But then let's just move straight to the front pages of the paper, and we'll be starting off with Vanguard. And main headline says, I won't allow repeat of #EndSARS protest, Buhari says. The writer says, as security chiefs express concern over bandit kidnappers activities in North. Police surround African shrine to prevent #EndSARS meeting. Court grants #EndSARS protesters Eremoseli 1 million naira bail. #EndSARS government must dialogue with youth. ABC governors insist. On stories above, we have botched meeting. South governors demand apology from president. You can see that on page 12. And also on page 8, strike, don't expect suspension soon, ASU tells a student, parents. And on page 19, federal government saves 45 billion naira monthly from TSA, says the finance minister. On page 10, Mayhem as Taskforce, Okada riders clash on Oshodi Apapa expressway. And stories beneath, we have gunmen, kidnappers on the prowl, kills district head, son in fresh Kaduna attacks, kidnap 8 persons in Edo, 12 ASPS in Northwest. I am in firm control of police force, IGP replies retired general. And on page 9, #EndSARS protests. Help me Help me, my abducted 3-year-old son sold for 8 million naira. Woman begs Abuja panel. On page 7, Dangote urges private sector players to commit 1% of all profit to fund health. And lastly, on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, we have UMAHI joins APC, cites PDP's injustice to Southeast. You lied, Wiki says. Away from the Vanguard, move straight to the Punch newspaper.
And on the front page of the Punch newspaper, we have a group eats federal government over claim bandits have been degraded. Gunmen kidnapped 12 police officers in Zamfara. Fears as 8 travelers abducted in Edo. Policemen adoption has exposed federal government's lie that bandits have been weakened. And that's coming from CSO. Also, Sukapu is saying bandits now kidnap people few kilometers from Kaduna government house. And you can see the story on page 2. And also the photo story, the caption says Pandemonium as motorcycle riders Taskforce clash in Lagos. You can see that story on pages 4 and 5. Also on page 9, we have Nigerian embassy in Germany suspend guard probes sex for passport allegation. Governors kick as presidency about South-South stakeholder summit. Assembly decries vagrant presence, court clashes, orders in Abeokuta. It's an error saying my governing council was dissolved. That's coming from Babalaki. Also above, we have ASU payment platforms integrity test. We take 8 weeks. 8 weeks, that's coming from Igige. Also, we are not part of federal government plan to send national assets. That's coming from the Senate. And lastly, on the front page of the Punch, we have Nigerian recorded 3,600 rape cases during lockdown. That's coming from the United Nations. And from the front page of the Punch, we move straight to This Day newspaper.
And on This Day newspaper, we have main headlines. We can't be intimidated, says PDP as UMAHI defects to APC. The rider says the BOT chairman urges party to negotiate with Southeast. Elders National Caucus meets today ahead of NEC meeting. Also, we have South-South governors, leaders demand apology from presidency over Bosch meeting. Police alleged abduction of 12 officers being verified. You can see that on page 5. And stories above, we have TSA collection hit 19 trillion naira in 5 years. The rider says the federal government saves 45 billion naira in monthly interest payment. Nigeria, Gambia signs MOU on financial policy. Also on page 8, we have Buhari outlines action plans to forestall reoccurrence of #EndSARS protests. And from the front page of This Day newspaper, we move straight to the Nation newspaper.
And on the front page of the Nation, we have 2023 PDP films as its governor defects to APC. Party dissolves states, Zona escos. UMAHI left for personal reasons. That's coming from Governor Wike. You can see that story on the front page, and it continues on page 9. Zulum to review Chibok school where girls were abducted. You can see that story on the front page too. Also, bank offer youth 2 billion naira agric loan at 5% interest. No end to varsity teacher strike, says ASU coordinator. Return to classroom, Buhari urges lecturers. You can see that story on page 9. Dangote to rally billionaires on health sector funding. COVID-19 cost oil sector $1 trillion, says NNPC GMD. Highway prevents another #EndSARS protest by president. You can see that on page 5. And lastly, on the front page of the Nation, we have panel to sell government assets in order, says Malami. You can see that story on page 30.
And that's all we can take on the front pages of the papers this morning. We're going into the newspaper analysis segment where we'll be joined in by our guest. Stay with us as we will be right back.
So, Amaka here, they did not even inform people that are upstairs, and they are demolishing the building, and a shop is open upstairs. They did not even inform us. Our life is in danger. Our life is in danger here.
very, very unfair.
I know this is really bad.
Employers are here working.
We are upstairs and they are demolishing downstairs. This is really terrible. This is really terrible. Thank God one of us just peeped from upstairs. What paper was upstairs?
They said one order from above. See what Nigerians are doing.
This is our really problem in this country. This is really terrible. This is terrible. Our life is in danger. Our life is in danger. Our life is in danger. We have millions of products up there. Our life does not matter to this government.
This is injustice.
This is really terrible. Baby, I'm coming. I'm coming. This is wickedness! This is wickedness!
Let it kill him!
This is wickedness! This is wickedness! This is wickedness!
I don't know. This is the opportunity. Yeah. This is the opportunity they need. The opportunity they need with this. Pandemic everywhere. Pandemic everywhere. Oh, wow. Hope they will not go and burn that station.
Alright, welcome back, and if you're just joining us today in the news on Vanguard Live, my name is Precious Chukudi and I have with me my co-host Well, it's a very sad one. We've been trying to connect with our guests, but of course network glitches has not been very helpful. But then we'll just analyze it with you all. We'll be starting off with Buhari saying, I won't allow repeat of #EndSARS protest. And the president Muhammadu Buhari has assured Nigerians that he will do whatever it will take to ensure that the #EndSARS protest does not repeat itself in the country. This is as the president and heads of state security agencies have expressed concerns over the increasing cases of banditry and kidnapping in the country, especially within the northwest and northeast geopolitical zones, and resolved to deal with it decisively. Minister of Police Affairs Muhammad Diyadi disclosed this on Tuesday while briefing State House correspondents at the end of the National Security Council meeting chaired by President Buhari at the Presidential Villa Abuja. He said that the meeting was convened to brief the president about the security situation in the country. And also, according to him, the meeting noted with concern the increasing case of armed banditry, particularly in the northwest and northeastern part of the country. The meeting agreed to be more proactive in dealing with the situation in a more decisive manner. Also, the meeting noted that the need to pay greater attention to the police in the discharge of its functions to maintain peace in the country in the areas of equipment and modern technology. And that's what the meeting entailed, the security situation of the country. And when the people on social media saw that headline that said, "I won't allow repeat of hashtag NSAS protest," it sparked a lot of talks on social media. Some were like, "Oh, what's the president trying to say? That he doesn't want us to speak about what's going on in the country. He doesn't want us to speak about the injustice of police brutality." And some other people were saying from the angle of, okay, the president basically saying that he will fix whatever is going on. And one of the things that the minister also mentioned was the fact that he said that the government continues to dialogue with all stakeholders and security agents to ensure that there's no repeat of what happened. That's the hashtag inside. So there'll be no reason why the youth to come out and say, okay, we're protesting against police brutality, which means they are going to nip it in the bud to ensure that situations like this will not occur again. And then he also mentioned something that the security agencies have also set up like a timeline of when they want to deal with the security situation in the country. But then it still gives me this question to ask. We've been battling insecurity for a long time coming. Doesn't mean that security agencies they never thought of putting a timeline of saying, okay, issues with Boko Haram, we want to ensure that by in 1 month's time it has ended. Why are they saying that they are looking at a target, a timeline, when they think that they want to end the security situation? Because this has been something that we've been battling with for over the years.
At the timeline for a long time. And also, this is not the first time that we're hearing that statement. So we're looking at the timeline for us to finish. This is not the first time that they're saying that. We're just hoping that this time around they'll be true to their word, because the issue of insecurity is actually increasing daily. Every day, you talk about insecurity. Now that takes me to this next, this next story I'm about to take. And that's like on the same day the federal government claimed that bandits had been degraded. There were attacks in Kaduna, Zamfara and Edo states, which resulted in loss of lives and the abduction of a family. So, of course, government in the early hours of yesterday invaded Gidonzaki in Zango Kataf local government area of Kaduna, killing the district head of Gidonzaki, Aruna Kwe, and his son Destiny Kwe. Also, the monarch's wife was said to have sustained machete wound, while the daughter sustained gunshot injury. Similarly, suspected kidnappers yesterday abducted 8 passengers of a commercial bus between Okwison and Emo in Esson southeast local government area of those states. The bandits reportedly robbed all the occupants of the Toyota Hiace bus and disposed them of their valuables. It was gathered that the hoodlums had emerged from a nearby bush within the area and took the bus to a corner before robbing the occupants. Meanwhile, the police in Edo State says that the police will no longer fold their arms and allow personnel to be killed like chickens by hoodlums. And also, of course, some time ago, people were talking, and that includes the retired Army General, former Director General, Nigerian Army Resource Center, that's Major General Garba Wahab, who said the Inspector General of Police appeared to have lost control of the Nigerian police force. But the Inspector General says that he was in firm control of the Nigerian police force. So these attacks that just came, that happened yesterday, just came a few hours after we heard about where the federal government said that these bandits are actually involved in a hit and run type of system, type of strategy. they will eat and they will run to hide. You know, that kind of thing, that banditry and all this kind of insecurity is actually reducing. And just few hours and we just saw many things happening, like that one in the Kaduna and also the one in Edo State. Now this also puts a question to this timeline of a thing that they're talking about. And you know, you just be looking at it, that when is all this thing going to end? Because looking at it now, it's happening during the day. Look at the one that happened in the I can't remember the local government this particular place here in Lagos, of the bullion van robbed during the day. So you are beginning to wonder now, walking during the day, traveling, you have to worry about your security. Am I going to get there safely? Would anything happen to me and my property? Then there was a time that we're having this experience that, okay, you can't travel in the night because you'll be hit by robbers and that. But now it has reduced. But all of a sudden, within the years now, it has come back again, especially this year now. Robbing during the day, robbing at night, and all that. Even your cars, they broke your car, your house, your cars. You know, your windscreen will be broken just because they want to get, you know, just your phone and many other things inside your car. So people's lives, they're not safe again. You'll be walking, you'll just be scared of the unknown. So many things are really happening. We just hope that what you're saying about this security issue will actually, you know, be tackled.
All right, I think that we've finally been able to, you know, get across to our guest. That's Mr. Gbero Olajigbe, Executive Director of Emergency and Risk Alert. Good morning, sir. Can you hear me?
Good morning, Dami and Precious.
Yeah, it's good to have you. We've been trying to connect with you since the network has been very bad.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're talking about you know, the president saying that he's not going to allow the repeat of the against SARS protests, and you know, he said he's going to ensure, do whatever it takes to make sure that it doesn't repeat itself in the country. How did you receive this news when you heard it?
Well, anyway, to contextualize what he was trying to say, he meant that maybe he will be carrying youth along, so that as to avoid the type of that ugly situations. But the fact is that there's nothing that can prevent any protest except good governance. If you don't deliver good governance, if people are agitated about anything and you are not doing that well, there's nothing you can do to prevent it. People must talk, people must react to your policy direction, to your policy issues, to your policy objectives. People must respond to whether the governance is being driven along the path of justice, along the path of inclusion, along the path of carrying everyone along. It doesn't matter whether it's youth that are protesting or even the adult, the aged. All issues around society, as long as you are able to govern justly, as you are able to preside over fear and equitable government, of course you will reduce tension and you will reduce the propensity for protest. Exclude people in governance, and of course, as long as you continue to aggressively repressing people's rights, you cannot prevent protests in democracy.
All right, the Minister of Police Affairs, he mentioned that the government will continue to dialogue and carry all stakeholders along in ensuring that there is no repeat of what has happened. Now, in time past, we've had dialogues, but how effective has this dialogue been in resolving the country's issues? Mr. Gbero, can you hear me? Oh, I think it's still one of the network issues that we've been having, and we've been trying to ensure that you know, he speaks more on that. But then let's just, you know, move ahead. And okay, he's back.
You must have that element that represent critical primary stakeholders when you say you want to dialogue. Dialogue is about, you have to understand the issue yourself. You have to understand the actors yourself. And of course, you have to understand what your responsibility as to the actors and what you can do about the issues. And not just mere talk. Talk drive society to nowhere. What people have been clamoring for is action. The issues are clear. The youth has no job. They have no employment in this society. The youth are telling you that this is digital age. They can't do without computer, without laptop, without digital social engagement. And that they should not be repressed for doing this. They should not be isolated or labeled as cyber criminals. So those are the issues that government must begin to think broadly with open mind, that this is a new dispensation, a dispensation that no government in the world can stop, can impeach, and you cannot prevent youth from such global social engagement and interaction that will benefit that will make information available to them, and that will benefit their lives eventually. The only thing you can do is to identify the criminal aspect of cyber engagement. And then when you are able to isolate that, and you can now intelligently target criminals among the youth, and not mumping every one of them together as if they are criminals, as if they don't know what to do about laptop and phone responsibly. So your dialogue is not about dialoguing alone, it's about understanding the context of the issues that you want to dialogue on. Dialogue, it means nothing if you don't understand the issue.
All right, sir.
And it means nothing if you are not open. It means nothing when you are not able to identify those who are critical actors in that dialogue. So it's like them, dialoguing with them.
All right, sir. One of the things he also mentioned was the fact that he said, government alongside the security agencies would set out a timeline to deal with the security situation in the country. Now, we've been battling with insecurity for a long time coming. Does it mean that there were no timeline at all for when this insecurity situation will be solved? And why is it now they're speaking about having a timeline?
When the president came in 2015, he said they should give him till December, that he will end Boko Haram. This the 50th year of such promise, of such deadline, that he shows it himself. Nobody imposed that on him. And if you are giving deadline on issues, that means that you have appreciated your capacity. That means that you have appreciated the resources available for you to deliver the deadline or timeline. And that means that you have identified the environment that is likely to enable you to deliver on such promises. And all over, what we have been having is you give a deadline today, you preach. Every deadline, no deadline means anything to anybody. What competent leaders do is that they assess their own capacity to deliver on a particular issue. You don't just give deadline because you want to make people happy. Once you have identified your capacity and the resources available for you to deliver on that issue, then you can now say, plus or minus, I will deliver on this particular issue at this particular time. You have given us a deadline. It is 2016. We are still here today. Deadline. You give teachers deadline. We are still where we are today. Deadline on refinery coming on board. We are still here where we are today. So we have several deadlines that have combined together in diverse permutation to create a conducive atmosphere for people to thrive, for people to live. Deadlines that continue to bring forth issues of ineffective governance, deadlines that continue to promote more insecurity. If you read clearly, yesterday, 12 police officers were kidnapped, were abducted. in a society, in atmosphere of environment. These are signals that your deadline is not empirical deductive. It does not speak to fat on the ground.
Okay.
You don't have adequate resources to promote, to meet them. You don't have adequate capacity to observe the details of those guidelines that you have set.
Mr. Bero,
they are very germane and critical and existential issues that government should begin to address.
Okay, earlier you talked about ASU. Now let's quickly talk about them. You know, parents were actually hoping, and students, of course, we had many of them commenting on social media that it seems they'll be resuming soon, maybe latest by January. But it seems their hope has been shattered again, as ASU says students and parents should not expect suspension of ongoing strike by its members soon, advising lecturers to seek alternative means of survival. Now, this action by ASU, what does it mean? And you know, can this be described as a disdain for Nigerians' academics?
Yes, it's a tragedy because their children are not in Nigerian school. But I have offered one solution to end ASU strike. Very simple one. Since federal government says that IPPIS is the almighty formula for curbing corruption, for cutting costs, now the straight way to end ASU strike is for the president to be enlisted in IPPIS. The legislator should be enlisted, they should get their salary through IPPIS. Of course, if you lead by example, ASU will follow. You cannot begin to isolate organizations and institutions such as Central Bank of Nigeria, and those are institutions like NNPC that are ineptly, almost irredeemably corrupt from IPPS platform, and you want us to go there. And of course, these are issues that should not be debated. If you want things done as a leader, lead by example. Let the president be enlisted on that platform. Let all legislators, is it not the federal government money that they are using to pay their salaries? The salaries of the presidents and that of the legislators. Let them become the IPPS platform members, so that they can be paid through the same. ASU will not have the guts to resist it. But as long as you continue to isolate that critical sectors without considering, giving consideration to the future of these children, what are we talking about? This is lies. These are lies that you should not be toyed with. It's dangerous for any society to deal to toy with the issue of the young population of that society. If you close a school, like they've done in the case of this ASU strike, if you close school, what you inevitably do is that you open door of violence. Anytime you shut the door and access to education, you inevitably open that of violence. Because these are people bubbling with energy to do good thing if they are properly managed and guided. But as long as you continue to play with their future, waste their life, making education ineffective, and of course, unimportant as a program of government, you have problem. Why can't you, the only way, suspend this IPPS, because the children can no longer wait.
But Mr. Agbero,
suspend the debate.
You know, ASU putting their interest first.
Deadline, a new deadline of maybe 1 year or 6 months to work at any other formula and get the students back to school rather than wasting everybody's time with promises that you give that you never kept.
But you know, this action by ASU, can you describe it as ASU putting their own interest first? Because this strike, you know, it's not it has not just started. This is not the first time, and it seems like this is the longest that the strike is actually going for. And right now, there's no end to it. And also, let's quickly talk about the budget. Also, I want you to comment on these two together. The budget for education.
We don't put things in historical context. That's why we have a problem. You sign agreements since 2012 with people, and we are talking of that same agreement that you have reviewed and review and over review in 2020. Agreement of comprehensively funding education, which your need assessment and federal government attested to, or a depletion of infrastructure in schools when you conducted your need assessment as a government. So it's not a new thing. It's historical. And if you don't understand the context historically, you won't be able to talk intelligently on ASU's right. Whether ASU is fighting for certain in every fight. And of course, if you don't love yourself, are you going to engage in that interest, in that fight? So even societal interest. Here, there's element of self-interest here. And there's nothing wrong about protecting your own interest within the larger interest of society. So that is not the issue. The issue is that do we have functional education? If you go to University of Lagos and see where students are sleeping 13, 20 in the same room, and you look at the environment, you go to that is, I'm talking of University of Lagos because it's one of the first generation university that you will say that okay, it's high there. Not to talk of others that have no resources that University of Lagos have. So those are issues that government should address and be concerned with. What I have said now, everything and anything must be done to end this strike. Give the gap. Continue with the traditional way of paying a two member for 6 months or for 1 year. That will not kill the government. And that you can monitor that, but for God's sake, get back these children to school. Our society is becoming ultra-violent. Our society today is becoming ultra-violent.
All right.
Parents are not happy. Crisis between, even at home, there's crisis between parents and their children who are kept at home. Or just
all right, Mr.
a conflict between the youth.
All right, Mr. Berry, let's talk about Governor Dave UMAHI, his defection from PDP to APC. And he made mention of the fact that his defection is as a result of injustice. What do you think about his defection?
I can't hear you clearly.
Okay, I said let's talk about Governor Dave UMAHI. You know, he has left PDP to APC, and he cited his defection as injustice. What do you think about it?
What I'm thinking of now, who decamps or who does not decamp is actually not my problem. My problem is good governance in Nigeria. And we have not gotten it, whether from APC or from PDP. So the errors of clapping for one that decamp or one that does not decamp is over. That is not, it doesn't put table on Nigeria's table. It doesn't put food on Nigeria's table. How does that address the price of onion in the market? In Abakaleke? How does that Abakaleke is own state capital? How does that one put 24 hours light?
You know,
these are people with personal interest.
You know, one of his reasons for Mr. Berry.
Whatever they like, that they are doing it in the interest of their own people. But there is.
Okay, Mr. Berry, I was saying that his reasons for decapping is because he was saying that. Are you there with me, Mr. Berry? Hello, are you there?
I'm here now.
All right. So his reasons for, sorry to cut you in. His reasons for leaving the APC to the PDP to the APC party was because he's been asking that Southeast deserves to, contest for presidency in 2023, and that no form of vice president ticket will be accepted. And he gave them a 7 days ultimatum, of which he felt like it was time for him to move. Of which also Governor Wike in his own right said that Governor UMAHI has plans to run for presidency, and this is not, and he's only trying to blackmail the party. What do you think of this situation?
I have told you there's no difference between the two of them. The first thing that you should even ask yourself, if PDP, as APC told him that he's going to give Adiguma a presidential ticket, has he been told by APC? So these are self-consumed people who project their self-interest as interest of the people. So I don't think we should begin to waste time on this type of character. It's not about, of course, it's sentimental when you say that it's because of they won't give you book. Yes.
Hello, Mr. Benro. Network glitches. We would have loved to hear his own opinion on that matter. But then I think we've spoken a lot about what's happening in the papers this morning. And just remember that if you want to find out more, you can go on our website www.vanguardngr.com to find out more of our top stories, as well as you can like, share and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. Till we come your way next time, I remain Precious Triple D and my co-host
Damla Mashaki.
Thank you for watching.
I don't know. This is the opportunity. Yeah, this is the opportunity they need. The opportunity they need this. Pandemic everywhere. Pandemic everywhere. Oh, wow. Hope they will not go and burn that station.